backgrounds. Artists hate them, artists love them. They're a staple in concept art, in environment art, and should also be in character art. Backgrounds can elevate a scene and really make your characters feel as if they're living in the world that you put them in, instead of just floating around in an empty void. As for me, well, I hate backgrounds. Backgrounds are probably the worst things to work on for me. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, backgrounds just don't work at all for me. So, I'm gonna try to fix that today. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Fair warning, I'm mostly gonna be flying by the seat of my pants. I have no idea what I'm gonna do for this video, so yeah, so have fun with it, I guess. But today's the day where I try to change the idea that I hate doing backgrounds. I'm gonna attempt to really try and put the effort in to learn how to do it better, because that's one of the only things in art that I don't know how to do properly. And it is annoying because I do want to add cool looking backgrounds, but I don't want to have to, you know, put as much time and effort into the background as I do the character. What if I just made the character and I want something simple or just something quick to go in there, but I also don't want it to look like it's plain or boring or anything like that. It's a mess. And painting textures for grass and rocks and shit, it's awful. I hate it, and I want to fix it. So let us move to the Photoshop and see what we can do to remedy this. So, I have spent the last week or so trying to comb through different videos and tutorials and tips as I can with learning how to improve my background design. And what I've come up with are 4 pillars that are integral to a good background design. And what we have here is shape design, because you gotta have those interesting shapes. Now, obviously, the main thing that you're gonna want to have here is perspective. I fucking hate perspective, man. I can't stand perspective. I'm probably gonna stray away from that. I'm running from my responsibilities with that one, because I'm gonna use the most basic perspective I can possibly do, because I suck at it. There's no easy way to say it. And it's tedious. It is so long, and it's so boring, and it sucks. I hate it a lot. See, studying things like anatomy, or studying things like the bones, or like how to do different bone structure, like, see, that's all fun. Perspective is not fucking fun. I don't know who drilled that into people's heads, saying that perspective is so fun and awesome and so cool, and it's so awesome and cool. No, it's not. It sucks. Why am I getting so heated about this? I don't know. It frustrates me that people like doing perspective for fun. I can't believe this is happening to me. Yep, I've done it. I finally crashed out on this fucking channel. But disregarding perspective, the inferior beast that we shall not name at all anymore, there are 4 other main pillars that are integral to a good background in general. And those are shape design. Obviously, if you don't have good looking shapes as like for your silhouettes or whatever, none of it is gonna look good. Depth. I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but in a video a long time ago, in the before I came back, I made a video about air being liquid, which is still true. I will put those images up here right now, and the farther you go back, the more depth you'll get. And you can usually separate these things with planes. You can usually separate these things into multiple planes. Usually there are 3. There are foreground, middle ground, and background. But you can really add as many layers as you want. The more layers you have, the more depth you got. But then you gotta balance your shapes, and it gets a little tedious. 3. One of the things I do struggle with more, other than the thing that we shall not name ever again, is color. Color is the other thing that I struggle with when it comes to making a good background. So we're gonna cover that. Not today. I'm gonna try to actually split these up and see if I can do like half of these today and then half of these the next day. But moving on from color, which is in the same realm, it is rendering. Texture detail. Making grass look like grass, making rocks look like rocks, making trees look like trees. This is the one thing I think I suck at, and I think that this could be fun practicing because I could always use some more help with texturing. So that is going to be the list that we're going to be going over. I'm going to probably just work on these two first, and then the next video we can finish it off with these, because these are more, actually, surprisingly, I managed to break these up into perfect sections because these are more related than, and these are more related to each other. So, perfect. So, how am I going to work on my depth and my shape design all together? Well, we're going to go and find some references. I'm going to go gather some references for landscapes, for different structures in backgrounds, and different things like that, so I can really work on my shape design. So I'll see you when we get back with references. Alright, so I found some pictures that I think could serve as great practice for what I want to achieve. I tried going for pictures that had interesting shapes, interesting depth like amounts. I wanted to have a good amount of depth so I can practice that alongside of it, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to start off with the big boy in the middle because I think that is probably one of my most interesting shapes. And back on the thing that I was talking about with the P word, if there is a better way I can go about making perspective more fun, please let me know, because I would like to try perspective and have it be fun without having to rely on fucking lines and dots and rulers and straight lines and shit like that. Because I would like an art process that doesn't make me want to commit arson. Alright, so I'm going to select around the same size as this. And we're only going to be using blacks and whites because that is the best way to achieve the right effect. Alright, so of course I'm going to start out with the one in the background, so I'm going to fill up what I can. Alright, already we got a decent start on what we have here. So I'm going to get further into it with my shape design so I can bring it out. First, I'm going to start out with this back, so that way I can get a good shape for the trees going. Got that background done. We don't need to do every single little thing in the background. We're just mainly getting those big shapes in. So, we good. I'm going to get in with a darker color and start getting in these larger shapes here in the front. Like, it's less like spiky and it's more like a droopy kind of thing. See, this is where the shape design comes in, because you don't want every single, leaf or anything like that to look samey. You want them to definitely look like they're part of the same plant, but you don't want them to look like they are just hair on the thing, And this is a very simplistic part of the process. You don't really want to do this for your actual background pieces. This is mainly to get your idea of shapes and depth going. It's not great, but it is definitely, we're on the right track. I think I need to work, I still have a lot more work to do with my shapes and my depth here, but you can mostly tell for the most part that the depth is decent. It appears more dark than back there, but there's still some inconsistencies here. The water, for one, is fucking horrible. So yeah, we'll keep going. I think here I'm not gonna worry about. I think I have a different approach that I can go with this one. Let's move on, shall we? Let's see what we can get with this one. This one should be easier. I'm using sort of cut-in shaping method to hopefully get some interesting looking pieces here. that's somewhat working. I mean, I'm getting somewhat decent shapes, but they're still looking a little bland, so I'm gonna try to fix some of these up. And this is what I have for this one. Not terrible, still pretty bad, pretty garbage. Then again, these trees kind of suck. They are all just everywhere, so yeah. The astute observer in the crowd might look at these and say, wow, my eyes are burning. And I can't agree more with you. So let's do another one. Alright, so it seems like this one's turning out to be quite good. Alright, so this one wasn't too bad. Yeah, let me refine this shape a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, this one isn't too bad. I think I got mainly the gist of what we got here. Still ass, but you know what? Take what you can get. So we're gonna move on to the final one, and we're gonna see how it stacks up. Alright, final one. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these big buildings in the back. Alright, we're going to focus on the stuff that's in the mid-ground now, and God help us all. I'm sort of also inventing my own shapes here. I'm trying to really learn how to get good shapes in, whilst also keeping with the same aesthetic. So if it doesn't, like I said, if it doesn't look like the reference, it's fine. I'm just trying to get the gist. None of this part stuff over here matters too much, so we'll just invent some awesome looking shapes here. Alright, let's work on the big building in the front. Now I do know that this building isn't one building, it's the two that are sort of in front of each other, but I kind of like the shape that it makes, so I'm gonna keep it and just, you know, let it ride. I'm only going in with this for some small amounts of detail. I'm not going to do all this. This is mainly a value study rather than a full-on picture study. Alright, we got this one done. This one's not bad, but then again, drawing buildings in space at one point perspective is the easiest thing in the world, so obviously this one's going to look better. But we did it, and now do a final sort of, not study, I'm going to do a final value render using the things that I learned or lack thereof. So time to give it a try, I guess. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, and this is pretty much the final value study. Not bad. Could use some extra, bits and bobs to really push the shapes, but I tried my best using what I had. Remember, this is my I suck at backgrounds, so this is like one of my first times doing this. I'm gonna keep doing this throughout the week to really try to push it, but yeah, that's what I got so far. I'll come back in about a couple of weeks with an update, and I'll probably do this again, so that way I can really learn it, push myself to really learn it. That is going to be it for today's video. This is pretty short, me documenting my journey to improve my backgrounds. Thank you all for watching. If you all made it this far, you hit the like button. It's it's free. It gives me some interactions. And if you have any other ways on how I can improve my environment art, feel free to leave it down there and I'll check it out, and maybe we can turn it into a whole other video. We'll see. But as of right now, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for watching yet again, and fuck perspective! Ooh, let me draw a line. Ooh, let me draw another one. Ooh, another one.